Hey everybody, once again we're at Sermonotes and I'm your host Todd May, and today we're going to do episode number 206, and I like to call this one In Search of the Elements of Noah's Ark. Now during the tale of Noah's Ark we actually see God restarting the whole world again with one family, and that's Noah's family. Now, at this time, people were horrible, doing all kinds of nasty things. So God said, you know what? Let's do a bit of a reset. So Noah is talking with God, and God says that you're going to need this huge boat so that way we can save your family, save all the animals, and then we can just restart once again. Now, for our references, we want to use Genesis chapter 6 right through the end of chapter 9. But I want to focus on Genesis chapter 8, verse 4, which gives our location of where Noah finally lands the boat. We want to go to Genesis chapter 9, verse 15, where God is giving another promise. And then Genesis chapter 9, verse 20, where we see Noah's action. Now, during the 1970s, there was a show called In Search of Noah's Ark. Now, Mr. Spock hosted this show, and you would think that it would have some kind of logic to it. Well, sorry guys. People are looking for an actual boat the size of a football field or a city block. Now, I'm pretty sure if there's going to be a boat that's left around like that, you're going to be able to find it even if it falls in a crevice in between mountains. Now, in verse 4 of chapter 8, we see that it mentions that the boat finally lands on Mount Ararat, or the mountains of Ararat, which would be the range around there in Turkey. Now, we see in chapter 9, verse 15, God makes Noah another promise where he says he's not going to destroy the world again by flood. So guess what? Noah doesn't need himself a boat that's the size of a football field anymore. But he's got this huge travesty that's blocking all his growing land, that in chapter 9, verse 20, it mentions that Noah, his first action after landing the boat here, is to build himself a vineyard. Well, now, since we can't just take a boat and say, okay, well, here's your vineyard, but you got to remember, you got a whole city block that's being knocked out by this huge travesty. Okay. Mr. Spock, you should use a little bit more logic here. Noah's going to have to take apart this boat because all of the wood that's around is too wet, too green, and you're not going to be able to use it. But you do have a boat that's made out of wood that was almost petrified, like the petrified forest in the southern United States. So I'm thinking that to build this vineyard, Noah's going to say to his boys, well, you know how today when you woke up and your families, nobody else woke up. So why don't you get out there, tear apart that boat, and make me a vineyard? Now, to do a vineyard, you got to remember that grapes don't grow like potatoes along the ground. You actually have to stake them roughly at about 4 feet or a little bit higher. So I'm thinking that you're taking the roughly, now if you're doing it, 450,000 cubits of wood. Now, you've got more than enough wood to stake off all of these grapes. You've got more than enough wood where you can actually start building some houses for your family, and also some wood for firewood. So they shouldn't actually be looking for Noah's Ark. They should actually be looking